Hi, welcome to Forex SVV. Today I'm going to talk on the fear of missing out. Most traders usually enter trades in places where price has already moved. So today I'm going to talk on how you would avoid chasing price in the market. So I'm going to talk specifically on the pivot points and the pivot indicator is an implied is used as implied support or resistance. Simply because most traders use it. So when the market is trending, we expect for the market to trace to this pivot, specific pivot point, and continue in the same direction. So you need to know the trend of the market in order for you to take the trades. And we have our pivot points. This is the SPV template. We have M1, we have S1, we have M2, M3. So this is the pivot indicator up to M5 R3. So according to the direction of the trend, we know where to look for patterns when we're using the pivots. So pivot points are calculated based on the daily candle. Yesterday's price action gives you today's pivot point. Right? If it's a red candle, it indicates M1 to a 3-day. If it's a green candle, it indicates M2 to a 4-day or a 4 to 2-day. So according to the period setup, we usually expect for a downtrend something like this, and for an uptrend something like this. So we have the accumulation phase, stop and high, then a pattern, then 3 intraday levels, then the deal at the end of the day consolidation. We have a consolidation. We have our accumulation phase, our stop and go, our pattern, then we have our 3 intraday, the deal at the end of the day consolidation. So we have in our pivot points, we have the overbought areas and the oversold areas, and this will depend on where the trend is for the day. So the red zone is the overbought area, the green zone is the oversold area, and like RSI, we look for sales around these points, and we look for buys around oversold areas. So suppose it's a downtrend, you expect for the market to go short in the maybe today we expect the market to go short. So this is M2. So from M2 level going down, it will be our oversold area. From M2 going up, it will be our overbought area. And if it's a red day, we expect that the market to move to M3, form a pattern, and our target to be M1. But how I use this pivot is that any pattern forming around this area, around the overbought area. So from R and from M3 going to R1 going to M4. So when the pattern forms around M3, then it would be a high probability setup to me. So around M3 is a high probability setup for sell. Around CPP, if it's a type 2 random pattern or type 3 random pattern, then it's a possibility that the market would fall smoothly. But around M4, it's a less probable trade for me to take because it has gone far beyond, and I expect that around M4 it should have broken the stop and box, so we continue up. So when I take my trade around M3, and then price has moved and it has broken M2 going down, and I found that maybe there is a possibility of another entry that it is down here. I do not take that trade because it's simply in the area for oversold. So when you're taking trades for sales around this area, then you'll be chasing price. So that's something that you should note down. Like you should take trades around M3 or R1 for high probability setup trades. And if it has broken the M2 pivot going down, then this is an oversold area, and when you're taking trades at this point, then you are chasing price. The same goes to an uptrend. When we expect for the day to be an uptrend, our best pivot level to take trade is M2 and S1. Like this, from M3 going down, then it's an oversold area. From M3 going up, it's overbought area. So when the dealer forms a pattern around M2, around CPP, around S1, then that's a high probability setup for you to take a buy. But when it goes further to M1 or S2s, then you find maybe the stop at box is broken and all that. So it's not a high probability setup for the day. So I usually leave that trade. But when I find that the pattern has already been formed and price has moved, it has broken M3 going up, then I'll never look for buys again because I'll be chasing price. So that's how I use the pivot points in calculating my moves, and so you should use it to know that you're not chasing price or you're chasing price. So and around the areas of overbought, you should be looking for sales. Around areas for oversold, you should be looking for buys. And this is valid only around London patterns. So let's go to the charts and see what happened today. So this was Euro Pound. Euro Pound started moving early during Asia. So we had a straightaway trade. See, I saw this pattern here. I saw this pattern for the day, and I could not take it simply because it's around areas for me to it's around the areas for overbought. So I should only be looking for sales around this area. So I found this pattern, and it was around this point here. So I calculated the number of pips to ADR. So the risk to reward, it wasn't favorable for me. Like I would risk maybe it was around 50 pips, and the target was around 20 pips. So it was a very bad risk to reward ratio. And let us look on what KJPY did today. So on KJPY, we had this was the high of the day for yesterday. So price went down. So this was a stop and from yesterday. And today we had a fake M, and then we had a W here. And this rise was due to yen disparity. All the yen pairs did rise, and this M pattern was clearly around M3. It was very favorable for people to sell, but then the trend was still an uptrend according to the yen index. So this was a very wrong pattern to take according to the trend, but it was favorable around M3. But then when you cut this down from M3 going down, this is an area for looking for buys. So if it's an uptrend day, so the W that was formed here was favorable for buys for this day. And let us have a look on other pairs. So this was USD/JPY. You see where the pattern was formed. It was formed around M2, and this was a day for buys for yens. So this was a very favorable pattern to take for buys. They actually found this this trade at this point, and it was like an ID50 trade. So target was there, and we had also took a trade on USD/ZAR to the blue tracer. So when you go to the 15 minutes, USD/ZAR formed this M pattern around M3. So M3 was there. We had a very good M, and this was after 3 swipes to the high. So I took this sell, and when it reached blue tracer, I looked on the reaction and I saw this reaction, so I scratched out my trades. So this was also a low test pattern. So suppose I would take a buy here to the mile here. So the mile will be the target. Let us have a look on EuroCAD. EuroCAD had a buy trade around this point here, but this high trade was around M3 pivot. Though it was just below it, in between the CPP and M3, but this was not a very favorable trade to take. And especially the pattern would have been completed around this point. So it would be above M3. So if you take a buy, see how it moved. It moved 3 swipes and then it did not complete the ADR and it's going down right now. But then it was buying due to Euro disparity. We had another pattern on Euro NZD today. So we had a very good W here. And here we had a return to the order block. So we had another entry, and all this happened around M2 for us to buy. And also we had another entry on Euro AUD. So Euro AUD is here. And this all happened around M2 pivot and the blue tracer. So I had a very clear stop and flow, a pattern there. And we had a return to the order block. So this was a good entry here. And this was a breaker block. So M2 pivot was there, our entry there, our target ADR. And another target should be the blueberry there. So we had another one on Euro USD. So Euros were buying, and we had a pattern here, a very good W pattern. So after 3 swipes going low, and this formed a pattern, a W here, and it was around the CPP here. So this pattern was good to take for a buy, and target was ADR. And GBP USD. So I found GBP USD around this area here. Like I wasn't looking forward for an ID50 here, but the dealer offered an ID50 and then we had a downtrend. But then at this point, when you look at the pivots, it's around M2. It's below, far below M3. So if you're taking your trade here, you'll be chasing price. Although your target maybe would be around the blue tracer. And then around this point now, we had this W. So I was expecting for pound USD to buy today, still continue up. And then maybe tomorrow it will reverse. So this W here, when this W was formed, and the pattern was clear at this point. I actually entered my buys here. Actually entered my buys and I took a few pips to this point. Since it was around this area, so we have M2 and S1, it is around oversold area. And those are some few examples of what happened today in the market. So you need to know of the trend for the day, and you need after knowing the trends for the day, you need to know what pivot points are you looking for to take the trades. What pivot points will be favorable for you to take a trade. So that's all I have for today. Thank you for listening. I'll meet again next time. Remember to subscribe and follow us on our social media pages, Twitter, Instagram, at Forex SPV, and join our Telegram channel for more updates. So go to Telegram and search on the Forex SPV. There you get our channel, join. So thank you very much. Till next time.